because confusion is a much better state to be than stupid conclusions that one makes. Confusion means you're still looking, that's nice. That's my intent, to keep you confused. Yeah, because I want you to be seeking, always. Nobody said Akasha is space, we said Akasha is ether. That's not an appropriate translation, but reasonably. Ether is not space, ether is a certain dimension of existence, subtle. When we say space, we are talking about kala or non-existence. We are talking about Shiva, that which is not. When we say Akash, we are talking about that which is. Here you are. Here you are as a human being. There are many levels from grossness to subtleness here. If you have constipation, you still have something gross inside you. Above that, there is a little more refined aspects of body. Above that, there is a lung full of air. Above that, there's a brain and thought and emotion and so many things. And there is life going in and out. And there is Akasha involved. There is water, there is physical material, there is air, there is temperature, there's fire, and there is Akash which makes this. Don't try to understand that, just get this right, because this is a mini cosmos. So if you perceive this right, you know that because today there is no question about this anymore. We've always been saying this in the yogic dimension, but today modern physics has come up with what is called as the constructional theory, which is talking about how the design factor in the universe, whether it's atomic or cosmic, is fundamentally same design. You as a human being with this kind of form, a grasshopper, an earthworm, a bird, a crawly creature somewhere, all of you have same fundamental design. From atomic to cosmic, the fundamental design is same. The complexity and sophistication of how this design evolves into multiple forms is different. Your design is far more complicated and sophisticated compared to that of an amoeba, but the fundamental design is still same. Only the complexity is increasing. So you don't go about trying to observe the cosmos because you don't have a gallery view of the cosmos. You cannot. There's no place where you can sit and observe cosmos. And in fact, you cannot observe anything except what happens within you. Even if you take a telescope and look at the star is happening only the way it projects in your mind, isn't it? Yes? You don't see any star. This is the reason why you see stars which don't actually exist. Many stars that you see don't exist, but they're projected in your mind in a certain way and that's how you know it. Or in other words, you only can experience this, or this is the only doorway through which you can experience anything. Whether you want to experience the food that you eat, or the air that you breathe, or the people around you, or the world around you, or the cosmos, you can only experience it the way this is. If this is very clear, you will see it the way it is. If it has taken many forms and shapes, you will see it in so many different ways. These days, I think largely the mirrors have gotten flat, you know. Even now, I think if you buy some cheap mirror, you will look like this. But if you get certain types of concave mirrors, you can definitely reduce your weight in a day. You just go stand, you look. You look like a dash-on. So, the mirrors give different impressions of who you are. Suppose you always looked at your face with a slightly distorted mirror. After some time, you will assume that's how you look. Yes or no? Yes or no? You think that's how you look. Because every day you looked at yourself and that's how you looked, and you think that's how you look. So even now, you think the world looks this way simply because that's how it's projected in your mind. If you evolve this mind to a more refined surface, that there's absolutely no any kind of wavering in it, it is perfectly plain mirror, then it will reflect everything the way it is, but upside down. You know, in the mirror, everything is like this. So now you must have the intelligence to correct this without distorting it. See, most people can't turn a dosa around properly. If they try to turn the dosa around, it'll become those kind of things. It takes certain skill to take something like this and turn it around without distorting it. So this is the problem with the mind. One thing is, already it is wavy or choppy, whichever way you kept your mind, but it is definitely wavy. You're seeing the world in the wavy mirror and it's looking certain way. And most people have never attempted to turn it around because they think that's how it is. When you want to turn it around, it takes a certain amount of skill to be able to turn it around without distorting it. So you have two problems. One is to first flatten the mirror so that it is undistorted, and now a much bigger task of wanting to flip it around without any distortion. So that is… we have not approached that in your life yet. First to make the mirror absolutely without distortions. We still working on that one. Is this air very much a part of you as a life? Those who do not say anything, we're going to throttle you. Your life is spread all over here, isn't it? This is physical. Even in this physical, there are many levels of crudeness and subtlety, isn't it? The very gross elements in the body, there are subtler elements in this body, there is thought, there is emotion, there is air that you breathe. Or in other words, life is always from a hardcore crudeness to many subtleties. Depends how much you spread, that is how much subtlety you have in your life. How wide your wings spread, that much of subtlety is possible. So now what we're referring to as Akasha is a subtle dimension of life. If you suck out the Akasha, you cannot exist here. If we suck out the air from this hall, you cannot exist here. Though you cannot see it, still it is more vital than your hair, I'm sorry. Because there is more money spent on hair care on the planet, definitely a lot more than the brain care. You see where our values are. If you pull out all your hair, you can still live. If I cut your ears, you can still live. If I cut your nose, you can still live. If I just suck out this air that you cannot even see, most of the time you're not even conscious whether it exists or not. If I suck out the air, you cannot live for a moment, isn't it? If we suck out the Akasha, you cannot live for a moment. There is a there's a temple in Karnataka, in southern India, which is called the Annapurneshwari temple. Anybody from Karnataka? You been to Annapurneshwari? So, at the rear part of the temple where most people may not go, because I am always poking into nooks and corners, others are all happy looking at the goddess. There is an inscription in Hale Kannada, that means the old type of Kannada, which is over 3,000 years old. There's an inscription talking about how to design an airplane in a temple. And they're saying, you can do like this, but if you fly these machines, it will disturb the ether in the planet. If it disturbs the Akasha, when they say Akasha, don't think space. When they're saying if you disturb the Akasha, then human beings will not know peace in their life. Once Akasha is disturbed, then psychological disturbances will become enormous. I think you're a living proof. I think there was an old movie by Manoj Kumar which said, sure, airplanes and the disturbance that it's causing, and he's glad his ears went away one day. Something like that, yes? So, if we suck out the Akasha, this physical body will not exist for a moment. So when we say Akasha, we are still talking about 5 elements. As you yourself in the question you mentioned, among the 5 elements, Akash is one. So when we say elements, we are not talking about empty space. We are talking about one more substance. Like earth, like water, like air, like fire, we are talking about one more aspect of 5 elements. So do not mistake Akash for empty space.
Akash is often translated as ether in English. In the Eastern tradition, ether is considered the fundamental elements that underlies all other elements. The concept of Akash is closely related to the idea of prana, which is the vital life force or energy. It is believed that where there is prana, there is also Akash, and without Akash, prana cannot manifest. Akash is seen as underlying substrate or open vastness that allows prana and other subtle life energies to exist and operate. Some sources also draw connection between Akash and other metaphysical concepts like the collective consciousness, the astral body, and the Akashic records, the supposed repository of all knowledge. Overall, Akash and ether are considered to be closely intertwined in Eastern philosophical and spiritual traditions. The ancient Greek and Chinese philosophers had different conceptions of space compared to modern scientific views. Ancient thinkers often viewed space in more abstract philosophical terms rather than the quantitative mathematical approach of modern physics. For example, the ancient Greeks distinguished between spherical space occupied by finite objects and the broader infinite space. In ancient China, the concept of chi or Akash was seen as the fundamental substance of the universe, encompassing both the spiritual and material realms. This holistic view contrasts with the modern separation of the physical and metaphysical aspect of space. However, there are also some parallels between ancient and modern perspective. These ancient Greeks and Chinese developed sophisticated astronomical and cosmological models, which in some ways anticipated modern scientific understandings of the structure and dynamics of the universe. Overall, understanding the evolution of view on space from ancient philosophical concepts to modern scientific theories can provide valuable insight into the culture and intellectual shift in human understanding of the cosmos. Akash is considered the most mysterious of the 5 classical elements in Indian philosophy and spirituality. Akash is often translated as ether or space, but it is more complex and subtle concept. Akash is seen as the fundamental substratum or basis of entire creation. It is the most subtle and pervasive of the 5 elements. Akash is not just empty space but a living conscious principle that underlies and pervades all of existence. In the ancient Indian view, Akash is the source and container of all the other 4 elements. It is the womb and matrix from which everything else emerges. Akash is described as the basis or substrate upon which the other four elements manifest and function. Akash is said to be the quality of sound, as it is the medium through which sound vibrations travel. It is also associated with the sense of hearing, as the ears are the organs that perceive the vibrations of Akash. Spiritually, Akash is seen the fundamental consciousness or awareness that underlies all of creation. It is the ultimate source, that substratum of all that is. Connecting with and experiencing the essence of Akash is considered a profound spiritual realization. Understanding the concept of Akash is seen as important for gaining a deeper insight into the nature of reality, consciousness, and the interconnectedness of all things, according to the Indian spiritual tradition. It points to a view of the universe as a living, vibrant, interconnected whole. So, as we conclude this profound exploration into the mystical power of Akash, we hope you have found these insights from Sadhguru to be enlightening and thought provoking. In this journey, we have ventured beyond the veil, uncovering the hidden secrets and diving deep into the abyss of Akash's hidden realm. Sadhguru's profound insight have allowed us to crack the code and unlock the power that lies within this enigmatic element. Remember, the wisdom shared here is just a glimpse of what is possible when we tap into the infinite possibilities that Akash offers. It serves as a gateway to a world of boundless potential and transformation. I invite you to continue exploring and delving deeper into the teachings of Sadhguru as he guides us on a spiritual revelation, unlocking the power of Akash and expanding our consciousness. Thank you for joining us, and may your connection with Akash bring you clarity, inspiration, and infinite possibilities into your life. Until next time, may you walk the path of awakening with joy and purpose. Namaskaram.
चंद्रचूड शिव शंकर पार्वती रमणा